Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sensitive Content Q&A screening brought to you by the Linoleum Contemporary Animation and Media Art Festival and Squiggly Online Animation Magazine. I'm Ben Mitchell, Editor-in-Chief at Squiggly, and I'm very happy to meet the incredible filmmakers involved in this program. So firstly, if you could all introduce yourselves and say which film you made and a brief summary of what the film's about.
I'm Igor Ćorić, and I come from Serbia. And I made a movie, Passage, about this tribe that's stuck in a war and tries to escape. So that's just the beginning of it, but yeah, that's it in short. Yeah.
My film is about my relationship with my grandfather, who was a soldier during the war between France and Algeria, and all about my attempts to make a film out of it. So it becomes a kind of a making of a film I'm not capable to do because I'm not capable to ask the proper questions.
I am Alessandro. I'm Italian, but I live in London, and I did a short film based on my grandfather's memoirs during Second World War. And the film is about one of the last events before liberation in Italy that happened in 1945.
Hi, my name is Uri Kranot, and together with my wife and partner, Michel Kranot, we've made the film The Hangman at Home. It's visual poetry based on the Carl Sandburg poem written 100 years ago, but still relevant. It is a poem about responsibility and what do we do when we come back home and think about what we've done during the day?
So my name is Ahmed Saleh. I am the writer, director, also the editor of the film Night. Night tells the story of a mother that I met in reality within a war-like context. The mother in reality was in the search of her daughter, and seeing her and actually I had direct contact to her. She came to ask me a question, and that question stayed with me for a long time. And on that experience, I wrote and made the film Night and contribute to this mother.
Mm-hmm. So what was it that made you decide to take on the specific topics of your films?
For me, it started from these abstract figures, and I just went with it and I tried to make something out of it. And for me, it was the perception of human being in a war, and how we don't see an enemy as a human being, but rather this abstract picture that's presented to us. So I started from there, and I built these characters, and I built these two opposite sides where they each have a different perception of each other, and they go through this. Well, it's hard to explain. I just wanted to create something strong and powerful with super simple images and very, very simple storyline. So yeah.
With this film, I use a method of having two different styles to go back and forth for exploring in one way the idea I create in my head of what my grandfather could have experienced, and in parallel my own everyday life as a filmmaker, as first as a kid, try to having the first clue of something struggling in the family, and there is some secret, and as the film go forward and the time pass, I became an adult, and this main still remain, like to tell my everyday life story. And there is the second style, which is more cartoony and more disturbing, which is first my imagination about those events, and as the film goes, it became more and more like ghosts that invite my space or my head, and it becomes more like the image of my obsession about this topic.
Yeah, and for me, well, to begin with, I doubt you guys did, because our short film is not online yet, because it's going through distribution now, apart from Ben that I think has seen it. But I've been lucky enough to watch both of your films, guys, and I really, really enjoyed both. I really loved them. And to answer your question, like, I can just follow up to what Bastian just said, because for me it was pretty similar. I knew that my grandfather was part of the Italian resistance during Second World War, but he never talked to me about any of the events that I witnessed as a partisan. And unfortunately, it passed when I was pretty young and like not curious enough to ask him these questions. And luckily for me, when I decided to move abroad almost 12 years ago, my grandmother gave me these memoirs that I wrote down on paper. And from there, like, I was just like shocked to see all those like things, and started kind of like building up a story, trying to imagine what I might have felt like during those events. So yeah, it's pretty similar to what Bastian just said for me as well.
I think the way we work is we have ideas, we put them in drawers, and it takes time. And at some point we open the drawer and look at those ideas, and most of them are rubbish. But then once in a while something does feel like the right time and moment to do. And I think that's what happened with this poem. It was, in the back of our heads for many years. We've encountered the poem at least 20 years ago, and it was just waiting for the right moment. And I think we were interested in visualizing a poem, and it felt actual.
Actually, in general, I write like most of the films or the stories that I write about people that I met, that their story stayed with me for a long time, that even I couldn't share it with people for a long time. Like there's something about these stories that made them even almost like a secret for me, that I lived with them for a long time, to understand them, to understand what happened in that specific encounter with these people. For example, this mother came to me and asked me, could you please tell me that she's dead? And I didn't know her, and she didn't know me, and she was talking about someone, and she was wishing for me to tell her that person is dead. Soon I realized after she left, she started to call for her daughter. And I was left with this question: what would make a mother wish that someone stranger would tell her that her daughter is dead, as if it's something that will actually relieve her soul? Like her soul was stuck with the hope that she will find her daughter. But within the war context, she was, now only I start to understand her psychology. She was stuck in a loop of hope and worry. And as a mother, she cannot really relieve that by herself. She's hoping to find her daughter, but the war increases the worry, and she always sees her under danger. And within that loop, in the story, I wrote that she couldn't sleep because she was stuck in that loop, and she was wishing for someone or some strength to get that hope out of her, so she can sleep again or she can live again. And that's I found this very, for me, it was very mind-opening, because it's usually we see hope as the thing that keeps people surviving, but it was the first time where I see hope was almost killing someone and destructing her life. So it was a story definitely to tell.